I was the wedding planner for what should have been the perfect day. Instead, I watched a bride discover her fiancé's biggest secret at the altar. I've been planning weddings for 8 years, and I thought I'd seen everything. Runaway brides, drunk relatives, vendor disasters, parent, you name it. But nothing prepared me for what happened at the Morrison Chen wedding last month. Elena had hired me 18 months in advance. She was a pediatric nurse who'd saved for 3 years to afford her dream wedding. Sweet, organized, and so in love with her fiancé David that she practically glowed whenever she talked about him. David was a financial advisor turned quiet, seemed devoted to Elena, always deferred to her choices about the wedding details. Everything about their planning process was smooth, almost too smooth. David never had opinions about anything but the flowers, the menu, the music. When I asked couples to make decisions together, he just gorgeous September morning, stunning venue overlooking the lake, everything running on schedule. Elena looked radiant in her grandmother's vintage lace dress, and her bridesmaids were giddy with excitement. I was coordinating the processional when Elena's maid of honor, Jessica, grabbed my arm. Her face was white, pulled me aside, and showed me her phone. A Facebook message from someone named Amanda with photos attached, photos of David in a wedding tuxedo with another's engagement announcement in her local paper, and recognized him. She's been trying to reach Elena for weeks, but David must have been 8 years of wedding planning. This was my worst nightmare scenario. The ceremony was supposed to start in 20 minutes. Guests were seated. The photographer was positioned. Elena was in the bridal suite, putting on her final touches. Jessica and I made the horrible decision to tell Elena immediately. We couldn't let her walk down that aisle without knowing. When we showed Elena the messages and photos, she went completely silent, just stared at the phone for what felt like an eternity. Then she asked to see David. I'll never forget the look on his face when Elena walked into the groom's suite, still in her wedding dress, holding Jessica's phone. He knew immediately that his asked quietly, David's best man for someone else right now today. As I nod, Elena took off her engagement ring, placed it on the table, and walked out without another word. What happened next still gives me chills. Instead of hiding or falling apart, Elena asked me to make an announcement to the guests. She stood at the front of the ceremony space, still in her wedding dress, and sat a day to celebrate what I thought was going to be the beginning of my marriage. Instead, you are here for the beginning of my new life. The wedding is cancelled, but the reception is not. Please stay, eat the food, drink the wine, and celebrate with me that I found out who David really was before I married him. Real celebration I've ever witnessed. Elena's friends and family rallied around her. David disappeared completely, and somehow the whole thing became a party celebrating Elena's strength and new beginning. 6 months later, Elena sent me a photo from her real wedding part, a small ceremony in her parents' backyard, marrying a fellow nurse she'd met during the aftermath of that terrible day. He'd been a guest at the original wedding, a friend of her cousin's, and had been so impressed by her grace under pressure that he'd asked her out a month later. Sometimes the worst day of your life is actually the first day of your real life.